Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the F1 2020 My Team career mode. Very excited to start this one out. I've held off on buying the game for a little while because I wanted to make sure that I actually, was going to properly invest time in it. And once I did get the game, I spent a little bit of time mucking around with it and actually getting used to it. So we're here now. I'm excited to jump into this, and I think this is one of the best things that's happened to the F1 series in a very long time. It's really exciting to have something that you can get properly invested in like this. So we're jumping straight in here already and getting into the character build. Quite ironically, we're able to find a face that kind of matches my own, but I did decide to use some of the Schumacher DLC stuff. I think because of the lack of things that I have unlocked, it's the coolest little bit of gear that actually looks decent. So that aside, we went with a red theme obviously to try and match some channel branding, but now it's time to decide on sponsors, engine, and second driver. So going through this sponsor list, I wanted to choose something that was going to be decent. I didn't want too little money to not be able to spend enough money on a good engine and a good driver. I also didn't want to take on a bigger task than was possible with a reasonable difficulty. I could choose something that says get 20 or 30 constructor points, but I need to be on too low of a difficulty to make that worth it. So deciding against that, and I went here with Equinox, and essentially all I have to do is not finish last in the Constructors Championship, which should be doable, and it's a decent amount of weekly income. It's a good signing bonus. It's good. It's the choice that I think was best given the circumstances. So coming here to the power unit, I'm still very scared of going with the Ferrari choice, and that's partly why I waited a little bit, because I wanted to see the cars get out on track in real life and see if there was any balancing that was going to go on, and we all know that the Ferrari is not what it used to be. It's definitely not the 94 performance or the 97 durability. In saying that, going with the Renault or the Honda, they're just not as good, are they? They're just not, particularly on durability. Performance, yeah, then it's not that far down on the Mercedes, but I thought I'd spend the money and just go with a Mercedes. It's a good, durable engine. We're not going to have many issues. Things aren't going to wear. The performance is very good. I'd rather just spend the money, especially since the rest of the car is going to be pretty bad. I wanted a good power unit in the back of the car. Choosing a second driver though, obviously this is a random kind of generation of the free agents available, usually of the F2 drivers. And yeah, everyone's got the ones that they want. Personally, I wanted to bring on Antoine Hubert if that was possible, because I just think it's a nice tribute one that he's in the game, and yeah, I really wanted to take him on if possible, but unfortunately he didn't generate for me. We had to make do with what we were given. Again, going through this list, there's some pretty low rated people that don't cost too much money. You have to go through that thought process of spend less money now, invest in the car later, then maybe buy a better driver, or actually, sign a driver that's really going to stick with you for the next year or two. You can develop them, turn them into a decent competitor that's going to be in a decent car eventually, and can challenge for points and help you try and win or gain positions in the Constructors' Championship. And looking through this list, I couldn't go with anyone other than Jack Aitken here. I wanted to spend the money again. He had very good awareness, very good pace given or relative to the rest of the drivers. Just needs a bit of experience and racecraft, and we'll develop that for him. He'll turn into a good driver without too much effort, and that's what I was really excited about. Now obviously you can see that we are down $700,000. So there were a couple of options that I was looking through first anyway, and Shark was one of them. All we have to do is earn 5 Constructors points. Now the weekly income's a little bit less, but the signing bonus is enough to make sure that we can get this across the line. So we've gone with a Mercedes engine and one of the most expensive drivers, and best rated actually of the ones generated, in Jack Aitken. $0 to spare, but we're looking good. We're actually going to be a force that's not way down the back of the grid. Of course, with the liveries here, I didn't want to choose one of the Schumacher ones, though they did look cool. I was deliberating it, especially the red one, to try and match the suits, but this is my team, right? It's my team. It's not Schumacher's liveries. It's none of that DLC stuff. We got to start from the bottom, at least with the livery, if we're not going to do that with the driver suits. So I was mostly looking at the red and black ones, not just because they were red and black, but they were the two that I thought looked the coolest. And I think this one here has the harsh, edgy lines, which matches that same finesse and refinement of a Formula One car. it's also just a little bit cooler than some squiggly lines. So messing around with like a gold burgundy kind of color theme didn't really work. We just went straight back to what we started with, and I think it looks quite clean actually, as with that shark logo down the side. You know, a little bit of work and progression. We should look quite cool with some sponsors all over the car. I hate the backing plates on these emblems though. I don't know why everyone goes with them, but I was trying to find something here that looked closest to an F, which I think that's what this is. And I went with the bevel just to really make it look better than a 2D image, because I thought that was, yeah, not the best. But of course, going with the branding of the channel, we went with kind of a gold and a burgundy looking logo, and I'm quite happy with it. I'm quite happy. All that's left now is to decide the team colors in those stripes in the background, and you'll see, of course, that we do go with the ones that you'd expect, the same as the logo, and then a black stripe down the middle. It looks pretty cool. I actually came up with something better than I thought we would. There we are. That's what we've got. Of course, going with the 22 race season, the proposed season, or the proposed layout for this year, we're not going to get to those, of course. Short qualifying, because I think the full will just take a bit too much time for the moment. And we do choose a 50% race distance here in just a second, but I will step that down to 25% for the first couple of races, because I want to get the difficulty quite right. We're not sure where we stand. I haven't driven a Formula 1 game in about 2 or 3 years, so I'm going to start this on 80 and see. I know that's quite low, but I also do want to have fun and have some competitive racing in this car, and I don't want to be 4 seconds off the pace until halfway through the first season. So sticking with 80, we'll go through now and basically turn all of the assists off, turn all of the damage up, safety car, all the rest of it. You know, we want to try and simulate a real championship as best that we can, but I'm so excited, so excited for this. I think that's pretty much it. That's all there is to it. I'm going to hand over to Will Buxton now, and we'll come back when it comes time to answering the questions.
Okay, we're live in 5, 4, 3.
Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now, we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out though as being something different is that its owner is also its driver. Now, there's a rich history of that in Formula 1 too. Sir Jack Brabham, John Surtees, Graham Hill and Bruce McLaren all drove their own cars in the sport, but it has become increasingly rare in recent years. What's very special about this team though is that while the team itself is new to Formula 1, so too is its driver and owner.
Whatever happens this season, you've already made the history books. Tell me, do you feel up to the mammoth task of both managing and driving for a Formula 1 team?
Well, something I live by myself, of course, is that if it's not a challenge, it's not fun. So we have to choose that option.
Every team needs 2 drivers, but what was it that drew you to your teammates?
This was a tough one because I think there was a couple of factors, but of course, as I mentioned, it's the potential that we want to take him further with us as a team.
No one aims to finish bottom of the table. Who's the team you're aiming to beat?
I wanted to choose Mercedes here, but of course that wasn't generated for us. I want to challenge all the teams really, but we're going to choose Haas just to make sure that we can secure a rivalry.
How are you expecting the car to feel out on track?
Now, this one's to do with the area of the car that we want to go with, and I think aero is an area we want to focus on.
The other teams now have years of experience, both on and off the track. How are you planning to catch up to them?
Again, I think aero is really important. We need to get that team firing on all cylinders because the power unit's good. We just need an extra bit of boost there.
Overtaking is a key part of this sport. How have you ensured that your car can take advantage of each opportunity that comes your way?
Well, we've given some points to the aero department. I think, again, the chassis department, because we don't need to spend any in the power unit.
And And finally, which of your new departments are you most proud of?
In the spirit of making things equal, 2 points to Aero, we've got to give 2 to the Shazzy team.
Well, that's about all we've got time for here. We will see how this fledgling team fares in its first Grand Prix.
So there we have it,
Great, thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen.
That's a wrap.
There we have it. That's the team created. I'm super excited. Please stick around. Give the video a like if you really enjoyed it. Subscribe because the next episode should be up right now. Hit that notification bell and you should be able to jump straight into that first race of the season right now. Excited to have you all on board. Excited to start this journey. And yeah, have a phenomenal day.